probably the biggest regulatory event in the history of our industry, and it's going to have a lot of impact moving forward. And we'll learn a lot more over the next week or two.
What up, guys? Nakamoto Crypto here. So according to this legal cryptocurrency expert, Cardano, Polkadot, Dogecoin, and Uniswap could all face regulatory actions from the SEC. But here are a few reasons why Cardano in particular is safe from an SEC lawsuit. Stay tuned. Like and subscribe, let's get to it. So the legal expert and XRP advocate Jeremy Hogan is sharing his outlook on the likelihood that some of the cryptocurrency assets in the future could face the SEC. Hogan analyzes just how likely that the SEC could go after Cardano, Dogecoin, Polkadot, and Uniswap on a scale of 1 to 10. When it comes to Cardano, the lawyer notes that ADA was first released as an ICO initial coin offering, and the SEC hates ICOs, so this becomes problematic in relations to a potential SEC lawsuit against Cardano. Hogan notes that, however, during that ICO, Cardano protected itself with a smart, legal, and brilliant maneuver, as he states that the general thought at the SEC is that almost all ICOs are sales of securities. However, Cardano in particular did something that was legally very smart, and that is holding its initial coin offering all the way to Japan instead of the United States. And Japan, as you may have heard, is a very legal crypto friendly country. So about 95% of the ICO from Cardano was sold to Japanese nationals, and from there these sales went into exchanges which were then sold to Americans. Ultimately, Hogan states that there is some danger that the SEC could go after Cardano, but he limits this danger on a scale of 1 to 10 to only 2.5. So Charles Hoskinson weighs in on this as well. A few months ago, when the SEC went after XRP, Charles Hoskinson reassured the Cardano community that Cardano is safe from this. And here were his exact words.
I don't think that this has any impact at all on Cardano. Cardano's standing, we're 100 times more decentralized than Bitcoin. There's real use and utility. It's definitely a cryptocurrency platform, and it's just kind of the next generation of things from what you see with Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I feel very comfortable that it would be classified as a commodity by any reasonable standard and test. And the ecosystem is run by thousands of actors at this point, with hundreds of thousands of community members, and does not require any custodial core entities. And the consensus system is permissionless, as opposed to Ripple, which is permissioned. I don't think this is going to have any material impact on the third generations, as I said, and no need for panic as an industry as a whole.
So you heard Charles. Cardano is 100 times more decentralized than Bitcoin and even Ethereum. It has a real-world use case. It is the next generation, a third generation blockchain from Bitcoin and Ethereum, and therefore would be classed as a commodity rather than a security. Thousands of actors are involved into Cardano, and it is a permissionless consensus system, which is much more different than XRP, which is a permissioned consensus system. So when it comes to the SEC coming after Cardano, that might not be today, as ADA will be fully decentralized by then. Next up on the lawyer's list was Dogecoin, which Hogan notes that Doge had no ICO or sale when it launched, given that 95% of the Doge was mined within the first year. He then gives the Dogecoin token 2 out of 10 in his danger rating, stating that I think that the SEC would only be made more of a joke if it decides to come after Dogecoin, as you cannot sue Elon Musk, you cannot sue Jackson Palmer and all these old Dogecoin creators, as they have left the project years ago. So without an ICO and a head, there's no way that the SEC would come after Doge. As for Polkadot, Hogan believes that Polkadot faces more risk than the other two digital assets, which are Cardano and Dogecoin. He states that the Web3 Foundation Polkadot, which designed and set up the Polkadot platform, had a number of ICOs starting way back in 2017 and has apparently raised $200 million up to this date. And to make matters even worse, the ICO took place before the Polkadot platform was fully functional. This is not good. This is bad because sales of the DOT token look more like an investment contract where buyers are relying on the efforts of the developers to increase the value of the token. Hogan states that it helps that the Web3 Foundation is a non-profit corporation that is organized in Switzerland outside of the jurisdiction of the SEC. So ICO sales were not made available to the Chinese and the American buyers when Polkadot was being launched. So just like Cardano, the lawyer also notes that the SEC could go after exchanges if they believe that DOT was sold in the character of a security by these exchanges. He gives DOT a danger rating of 5 out of 10. As for Uniswap, Hogan explains that he used a different model than Polkadot and Cardano, stating that what's interesting about Uniswap is that Uni was developed by Uniswap Labs. From a legal standpoint, that was last year. The network began trying to decentralize itself from the beginning, and this was done through an airdrop. Meanwhile, the Uniswap Labs staff and such received about 40% of the Uni supply, which was split between themselves. This would be released over a period of 4 years, kind of similar to the Ripple's escrow. It's an interesting approach to release tokens because under current securities laws, there is a relatively strong argument that the airdrop was to transfer a security. The analysis is somewhat convoluted. Hogan notes that, however, the Uniswap Labs did not have an ICO and did not profit from the airdrops. So the nuts and bolts of this is that if the SEC sues Uniswap and wins, what's the result? As there are no profits to disgorge from Uniswap. So what incentive does the SEC have to file any lawsuit against Uni? Hogan gives Uniswap a 4 out of 10 when it comes to danger ratings. So what are your thoughts on the SEC coming after Cardano, Dogecoin, Polkadot, and Uniswap in the near future? Let us know in the comment section below. Like the video, share, subscribe for some daily crypto content. I have been Mr. Nakamoto Crypto, and I'm out.
This is probably the biggest regulatory event in the history of our industry, and it's going to have a lot of impact moving forward. And we'll learn a lot more over the next week or two. Maybe it's just going to be the case where after battling for years, they pay a fine and they move on. Maybe it's the case that this is the example that the SEC has been waiting for to establish case law, and they've carefully thought about it and they've been super strategic. Maybe it's the case that policy is going to so radically change between administrations that this is the Treasury Secretary's last hurrah to try to rock the boat with cryptocurrencies before cryptocurrencies become further legitimized. Who knows? It's an interesting thing. Now, the reason why this is a big deal for the industry as a whole is that it may have a profound implication on how the SEC in the future views whether something is a security or not. There are a lot of facts and circumstances there that it's just impossible to know where the SEC is going with this until we actually read the court filing. From our part, we're of course going to look at it and analyze it. On the outset, I don't think that this has any impact at all on Cardano. Cardano's standing, we're 100 times more decentralized than Bitcoin. There's real use and utility. It's definitely a cryptocurrency platform, and it's just kind of the next generation of things from what you see with Ethereum and Bitcoin. And I feel very comfortable that would be classified as a commodity by any reasonable standard and test. And the ecosystem is run by thousands of actors at this point with hundreds of thousands of community members, and does not require any custodial core entities. And the consensus system is permissionless, as opposed to Ripple, which is permissioned. I don't think this is going to have any material impact on the third generations, as I said, and no need for panic as an industry as a whole. But it is a really puzzling thing to me that something like this would come out so quickly before one administration ends to another. It's just a bizarre thing. 4 days before Christmas is a bizarre thing as well. This is not normal behavior. Normally you do this in January if you're going to do it, especially if there were negotiations between the two entities.